St. Vincent and the Grenadines aligns itself with the statements delivered on behalf of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, the G77 and China, and the Non-Aligned Movement. Excellencies, the membership of the United Nations convenes annually in these hallowed halls to vote overwhelmingly in favor of the resolution entitled Necessity of Ending the Economic, Commercial, and Financial Embargo imposed by the United States against Cuba. What this means is that each year since 1992, the international community has consistently taken a principled stance against the embargo on Cuba. This opposition is steeped in the understanding and recognition that these extraterritorial and unilateral coercive measures imposed on Cuba by the United States are not only anachronistic, but are also grave violations of international law, including the Charter of the United Nations, which threaten the sovereignty of the people of Cuba. International law, including the Charter of the United Nations, serves as the backbone of our civilized society, reinforcing global peace, stability, and security. To function effectively, however, it must be equally applied, upheld, and adhered to. Great powers can neither be permitted to exploit nor manipulate international law to serve nationalist agendas or promote political jingoism. The embargo persists as a policy in search of a legitimate justification. At one point, it was enacted to contain the unsubstantiated security threat posed by Cuba. At another, it was to thwart the perceived ideological menace of communism in our hemisphere. Then it was in retaliation for expropriated property. After that, to establish a particular type of democracy. Today, we hear of human rights. Many other rationalizations have been similarly advanced and discarded. In spite of the tenuous nature of each justification, the embargo endures. Its inhumane nature, intensifying daily hardships faced by the people of Cuba. The embargo's restrictive nature limits Cuba's ability to import fuel and other necessary resources, further burdening the national energy system and contributing to the recent collapse of the national grid. Excellencies, the principles of sovereignty of all states, non-intervention and non-interference are indispensable cornerstone principles that are prerequisites for the peaceful coexistence of states. They enable the achievement of the purposes and principles set forth in the Charter of the United Nations. No state, regardless of its size or might, has the authority to override the collective voice of the international community or circumvent its legal obligations and responsibilities. As responsible actors in the international community, all member states have the duty to respect international law. Lifting the embargo on Cuba is the only way to restore trust, something our world urgently needs, and foster an environment for constructive dialogue that would contribute to reinforced multilateralism. Within this vein, we also reiterate our call for the urgent removal of Cuba from the U.S. State Department's list of countries deemed to be state sponsors of terrorism. This designation remains both unjust and wrongfully imposed and contributes to the chilling effects of the embargo, as well as Cuba's international isolation. The government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines continue to stand in solidarity with the people of Cuba. We continue to defend the principles unambiguously set forth in the Charter of the United Nations and call for the equal application of international law in all contexts. Within this vein, we echo the overwhelming calls of the majority for the immediate removal of these illegal and unjust measures. Peace profound still, and I thank you.